The definition of money is anything which is generally accepted for the transaction of goods and services and repayments of loans is called money. So money include notes, credit cards, debit cards and coins etc. All those things are included in money which is used for the transaction of goods and services and repayment of loans. You know everyone needs money for the transaction of daily deals. The another definition of money is that money is a medium of exchange for goods and services. Money is also a certificate from the society that how much you are beneficial for the society and how much you are productive for this world. When you work for someone, they give you a certificate as money, which means that now you can buy goods and services from other people's. When there was no money in this world, people were exchanging goods for goods. A world without money was so much complicated because people were exchanging goods for goods. If I need a goat and I have sheep, so I have to exchange sheep with goat. But if that person doesn't need sheep, so this was a worse situation. Exchanging goods for goods was called as barter system. After the invention of money, people could easily exchange money with goods and services. Multiple functions of money. But in this lecture we shall discuss 5 functions. First one we have is money as medium of exchange. It is the very basic function of money. Money as medium of exchange means that we exchange money for the transaction of all goods and services. It also removes all the difficulties of barter system. In the older days, barter system was used. In this system, people were exchanging good for other goods. It also removes the double coincidence of human wants. The second function of money is unit of account, which means that it measures the value of goods and services. For example, we can differentiate the value of milk and sugar. Sugar we have 70 cents per kg and milk we have is for example $2 per kg. So money measures the value of different goods and services. And money also compares the value of different goods. The third function we have is money as store of value. You know that some goods lose their value very quickly, like vegetables and fruits. We cannot store them for a month or for a year. So we can easily sell those goods and receive money and we can keep money for years. The fourth function we have is money as a transfer of value. There are some goods in this world which we cannot transfer from one place to another place, like a home in a city. If we want to migrate from one city to another city, so we cannot shift this home to another city. So what we have to do is we have to sell that home and receive money, and again we can buy another home in that city in which we want to live. So the money have a function to transfer the value of goods. The fifth and the last function we have is money as a standard of deferred payments. Deferred payment are those payments which are to be made in the future. So countries take loans and they pay back in the form of money. So this was the fifth function of definition of money is M1 money, which includes money in your wallets, traveler's check and checkable accounts. Cash is what you have in your wallets. And traveler's check is when you travel to foreign countries in vacations. Traveler's check is also a medium of exchange like money. So traveler's check is a type of money. It is alternative of hard currency. And checking accounts are those which we open in a bank. And we can deposit our cash in this account or withdraw money when we need. Now we will talk about the money market. For example, Ali is working in a firm. He receives his income every month and he deposits some money in his checking account in a bank, and he also keeps some cash in his wallets to pay for his daily needs. He also keeps a traveler's check when he need to go to foreign countries on vacations. Now this is what economists call as demand for money. At the same time, Ali doesn't know that a central bank how much supply money in the market for circulation, and this is what economists call as supply of money. Now let's study these concepts through graphical representation. Before we study the demand curve of money, we should know why people keep money. There are three motives. First is transaction motive, the second one is precautionary motive, then the third one is speculative motive. The transaction motive is we keep money for the transaction of goods and services. The precautionary motive is to keep money for unforeseen events. The third one is speculative motive, which also means the unexpected events. The third motive is to keep money for getting unexpected profit. Buying bonds are a product which price suddenly drops. On x-axis we take quantity of money and on y-axis we take interest rate. On high interest rate there will be less demand for money because on this point the opportunity cost of keeping money in your pockets is very high and you do not want to hold a lot of money. People put their money in banks to get high interest rate. But on low interest rate people wants to withdraw money from banks to do a business. So here the opportunity cost of keeping money in banks is very high. First one is price level, the second one is incomes, and the third one is technology. If prices of commodities go high, the money demand will shift to the right because people will need more money to buy goods and services. If the incomes of consumers increases, even though the money demand will increase and the demand for money curve will shift to the right. The third one factor is technology. If there is change in the technology, then people will start using credit cards instead of money for buying and selling. So the demand for money curve will shift to the leftward and there will be less demand for money. Now let's move toward the supply of money. Here we will study three reasons due to which money supply shift. The first reason is open market operations, the second one is reserve requirements, and the third one is discount rate. In open market operations, the central bank tries to sell or buy bonds and securities to control the money supply. If central banks want to increase the money supply, they will buy bonds and securities. So the money supply curve will shift to the right and there will be more money in the market. And if central banks want to decrease the money supply, they will sell the bonds and securities to decrease the money supply. And the second reason, the reserve requirements, we study that the central bank make a law in which commercial banks are bound to keep some percentage of money as reserve in their banks. If central bank says keep more money in your bank as a reserve, there will be shift leftward in the money supply. But if they say keep less money in your banks as a reserve, there will be shift towards a rightward, which means there will be more money supply in the market. The last one is discount rate. Commercial banks also take loans from the central bank. So if the discount rate is high, commercial banks will take less loan. If the discount rate is low, commercial banks will try to take more loan, which will be resulted as more money supply in the market. Discount rate is known as interest rate to the central bank, and central bank take this interest from commercial banks. This is how money supply and money demand works.